I witnessed an altercation involving Nolan Wells from a boat nearby. What I saw has stayed with me, and I believe it's important information. I have provided or intend to provide my account to the appropriate investigators because Nolan's family deserves the truth. Out of respect for the ongoing investigation, I won't speculate beyond what I personally observed. While I was on the boat near the area, I witnessed an altercation involving Nolan Wells and several other individuals. I saw what appeared to be an argument that escalated after there was a dispute involving Nolan's phone. I heard Nolan yelling for his phone to be returned. The argument continued after the group reached shore, and I observed a physical fight involving Nolan and multiple people. I also observed a young woman telling them to stop. At that point, I left the area because the situation had appeared to be getting worse. I did not remain long enough to witness what happened afterward. Everything beyond what I personally...
District Attorney Angel Myers McElrath stated on July 22nd, and I quote, "Understand the public's urgency to know what happened to Nolan, but we are not taking time for time's sake. We are taking the time required to complete the work this investigation demands," end quote. Think of a grand jury docket sitting in a courthouse in Pascagoula, Mississippi, with a single, unanswered question written at the top in permanent marker. Not a question about a boat, not a question about a timeline, but a question about a witness. A witness who says she saw the fight. A witness who says she has video. A witness who says she has a story that could change everything. And yet, for weeks, that grand jury docket remained exactly as it was when the investigation began. Not because the evidence wasn't there, but because nobody asked the one question that mattered most. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Crime Files 911, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. The witness in question emerged on social media with a public account of what she claims to have observed on Horn Island on the afternoon of July 4th. According to her statement, which she posted online and later provided to multiple media outlets, she was a passenger on a nearby boat when she witnessed what she described as an altercation.
This is the elected district attorney. My obligation and commitment is to present the grand jury with all the evidence collected in the case in order for them to reach a decision based on a thorough investigation, complete evidence presentation, the actual truth, and an understanding of the law. I'm obligated to do so in keeping with the law and the rules of the court. She goes on to state, I stand firmly on the rule of law and my ethical obligation. That is what the people of Jackson County elected me to do. I will present the grand jury with a thorough, complete, and fair investigation into the death of
involving Nolan Wells and several other individuals. She stated that she observed an argument that escalated after a dispute involving Wells's phone, heard him yelling for his phone to be returned, and then watched as the argument continued after the group reached shore. She then claimed to have observed a physical fight involving Wells and multiple people, and a young woman telling them to stop. She stated that she left the area at that point because the situation appeared to be getting worse, and did not remain long enough to witness what happened afterward. She also claimed to have video footage, though she described it as not showing much and stated that she intended to provide her account to investigators. But here is where the forensic record demands a pause. The witness did not merely post this account and then disappear. She did something more complicated. She messaged one of the individuals she claimed to have seen directly on social media. In that message, which has been publicly reported, she stated, quote,
I witnessed an altercation involving Nolan Wells from a boat nearby. What I saw has stayed with me, and I believe it's important information. I have provided or intend to provide my account to the appropriate investigators because Nolan's family deserves the truth. Out of respect for the ongoing investigation, I won't speculate beyond what I personally observed. While I was on the boat near the area, I witnessed an altercation involving Nolan Wells and several other individuals. I saw what appeared to be an argument that escalated after there was a dispute involving Nolan's phone. I heard Nolan yelling for his phone to be returned. The argument continued after the group reached shore, and I observed a physical fight involving Nolan and multiple people. I also observed a young woman telling them to stop. At that point, I left the area because the situation had appeared to be getting worse. I did not remain long enough to witness what happened afterward. Everything beyond what I personally...
The paperwork already knew. According to public statements from the district attorney's office, the investigation has been ongoing, with evidence being presented to a grand jury under Mississippi's hybrid coroner's inquest statute. The district attorney has stated, and I quote again from her July 22nd statement,
"The individuals that she saw, hey, I just want to say I was a passenger on another boat and I saw the argument between you guys, and we'll go to the police with this information. I also have video footage. My husband doesn't show much, but it shows the argument that was taken and how you guys were upset at Nolan because of the young lady."
That from Secret Service Sam on TikTok.
My obligation and commitment is to present the grand jury with all the evidence collected in the case in order for them to reach a decision based on a thorough investigation, complete evidence presentation, the actual truth, and an understanding of the law. End quote. But the public record does not show that this witness's account was ever formally entered into evidence. The public record does not show that her video footage was ever authenticated. The public record does not show that her name appears on any witness list filed with the court, and that silence is itself a piece of evidence. The witness herself stated publicly that she intended to provide her account to investigators. She did not say she had already done so. She said, quote, "I have provided or intend to provide my account to the appropriate investigators." End quote. That is not a statement of fact. That is a statement of intention, and intention is not evidence. The gap between what was said and what was done is the exact space where this investigation has been suspended in midair. We know from the district attorney's own statement that the grand jury has been convened. We know from multiple public reports that the state autopsy has been completed.
Philip, first of all, has she turned it into police? She said she was. If she hasn't, I give her no credibility at all. Look, I want this to be true. Why? Because I want the video. I want to see the timestamp on the video. I want to see, was he still on Horn Island at 4:30 when his acquaintances on the Triton boat left? I want that video. And if she hasn't brought this forward to LE, law enforcement, then it means nothing.
We know from witness interviews conducted by independent journalists that the individuals named by the witness have denied any involvement.
Well, Nancy, she's not saying he lost the fight. She's not saying that he got beat up. If you look at the autopsy, there's no clear signs of blunt force trauma to his face or any of the vital areas that could kill him. So it doesn't appear that there's any indication that he lost a fight, that there was enough trauma in this particular fight that would lead to his death. And when you look at the autopsy, there is no blunt force trauma to his face. There is no lacerations or damages to the back of his head. This is redness that was underneath.
But we do not know from any official source whether that witness ever submitted her account to law enforcement. We do not know whether her video footage was ever reviewed. We do not know whether the grand jury was ever shown the text message she sent. We do not know whether she was ever subpoenaed. And we do not know whether the investigators ever asked her the one question that could validate or destroy her entire account. Did you actually show up? The paperwork already knew. The district attorney's office has a process for receiving witness statements. The sheriff's department has a process for receiving evidence. The grand jury has a process for reviewing testimony. But none of those processes can operate if the witness never walks through the door. And if she did walk through the door, then the public has a right to know what she said, what she showed, and what the investigators did with that information. The national security angle here is not about classified information or foreign threats. It is about the integrity of the investigation itself. If a witness with video evidence of an altercation involving a man who was later found dead in the water never formally provided that evidence to law enforcement, then the entire investigation is operating with a known, documented gap in the factual record. And that gap is not an accident. That gap is a choice. Every piece of evidence must be examined. Every credible lead must be followed to its conclusion. Every witness interview must be analyzed in context of all other evidence. Those are the district attorney's own words. But a lead is only credible if it is followed. A witness is only credible if they testify. And evidence is only evidence if it is entered into the record. What happens to an investigation when the central witness never actually testifies? What happens when a documented claim of an altercation, supported by a contemporaneous text message?
Well, Nancy, I think that it's a big obstacle to climb here because I've never heard of this altercation whatsoever. Nobody that I've talked to have alluded that this altercation was real. And also Katie, whom I saw her text messages, she didn't even say this altercation occurred. What I will say is that if I was an investigator in this investigation, I want to hear that. I want to be able to compare that information to other things that we may have or other witness statements.
Is never formally presented to the grand jury. What happens when video footage that could authenticate or refute a timeline is never reviewed by the experts who need to see it most? The district attorney has stated, and I quote again, "Our restraint in communicating facts and evidence is not an effort to keep the truth from the public. It is an effort to protect the integrity of this investigation in the grand jury proceeding." End quote. But protecting the integrity of the investigation requires that the investigation actually be complete. And an investigation that does not formally interview a witness who publicly claimed to have seen the key event and who publicly claimed to have video evidence of that event is not a complete investigation. It is an investigation that chose to look away. The district attorney also stated, "The pressure for answers does not change what the work requires. Our responsibility to Nolan and our community is to complete this investigation thoroughly, carefully, without compromise, supported by the evidence, and worthy of the confidence of the people we serve." End quote. But the confidence of the people requires transparency, and transparency requires that the public know whether this witness ever actually came forward. The evidence is not complicated. It is a single question. Did the witness ever provide her account to law enforcement? Did she ever hand over the video? Did she ever testify before the grand jury? The answer to that question will determine whether this investigation is thorough, careful, and without compromise, or whether it simply allowed a documented claim of violence to drift out of the record without ever being tested. The paperwork already knew, because the paperwork is where this witness's account would have been recorded. The paperwork is where her video would have been logged. The paperwork is where her testimony would have been transcribed. And if that paperwork does not exist, then the investigation is not complete. It is not thorough. It is not careful. And it is not without compromise. It is an investigation that chose to rely on the word of a witness without ever verifying whether that witness actually said a word to the people who mattered most. The question is not whether the witness was credible. The question is whether the investigators ever gave her the opportunity to be credible. And the answer to that question, as of this recording, does not exist in the public record. We do not know. The district attorney's office has not released any document confirming that this witness ever provided a formal statement. The sheriff's department has not released any report confirming that her video footage was ever reviewed. The grand jury has not returned any indictment, which means we do not know what evidence was or was not presented. All we have is a documented claim, a text message, a public statement of intention, and an investigation that has been ongoing for weeks without a single public confirmation that the key witness ever actually showed up. That is not an accident. That is a choice. And that choice is the central unanswered question of this entire case. The witness said she would go to the police.
Number one, he's dead shortly after an alleged altercation with another male. We think over a woman. See, in my world, I put together both circumstantial and direct evidence. Direct evidence would be, for instance, DNA or a fingerprint. Circumstantial evidence is the timing of the alleged altercation and his death, right?
Nancy,
so
but Nancy,
it's hard for me to believe that there's some kind of altercation on Horn Island just before he dies. And
the witness said she had video. The witness said she wanted the family to have the truth, but the public record does not show that she ever actually did what she said she would do. And the question is not whether she was telling the truth about what she saw. The question is whether she told it to the people who could do something about it. We have examined the documents. We have examined the public statements. We have examined the timeline, and the evidence, such as it is, points to a single, unavoidable conclusion: the investigation cannot be complete if the witness never testified. The verdict cannot be rendered if the evidence was never entered. The truth cannot emerge if the people who know it never speak. And the family cannot have justice if the investigators never ask the one question that could unlock everything. To conclude this segment, we direct your attention to one specific document: the Jackson County District Attorney's official statement regarding the Nolan Wells investigation, released on July 22nd, is available as a public record. You can find it on the Mississippi Attorney General's website or via public records request. We ask you one direct question for the comments. According to that statement and any subsequent updates, is there any public record that confirms this witness ever formally provided her account or video evidence to the Jackson County Sheriff's Department or the District Attorney's Office? If you know the answer or can find it, let us know in the comments, because the documents will tell you what the headlines cannot. The paperwork already knew. And if you want to help find the truth, start by reading the documents for yourself. If you found this analysis valuable, hit the like button, share this with someone who needs to see the evidence, and make sure you're subscribed to Crime Files 911 with notifications on. We follow the evidence so you don't have to. Evidence first. Always.